Okay, so here's the rundown of my pedal board. I finally have it to a spot that's comfortable. And everything starts right here at the Mac Mix 8. It has a true stereo auxiliary send and return effects loop. And these little green mixes that, and the ABC goes between those channels. My ABY goes between clean and dirt. So I get to have clean channel, and see I have the clean channel with the effects jet all the way off, and different levels for my dirts. This is my master volume knob. It's just before my Hall of Fame, which is at the very end of my chain, outside of that effects loop. Within my effects loop, the very first thing through is the Soundblocks Pro Bass Envelope Filter. Awesome envelope filter. I still have yet to learn how to program it, but the previous person had some pretty good programs and I've been using them, so it's been working. From there, I go into the Super Ego Plus. This is a fun little machine. It has a freeze function, like the freeze or a hold pedal. And normally you'd want that at the end of your chain, not at the front, but with it at the front and with a looper function in my flashback, I can take this and add any of these effects while this is on hold. So I get the arpeggiation, I get the organ, the voice, whatever. Really cool stuff. It also has its own set of effects in it too, so I also have a delay I can send in before my dirt, which gives a very unique type of delay instead of after, like most people have it. As you can see, I have 4 other delays here too, and the multi-stomp zoom here, I can have more than one delay programmed into it as well. But back to my chain. This is 1. This is 2. From here, it goes to my equalizer, which is 3. From here, it goes to my noise suppressor. This not only helps in my microphone instruments, because I play saxophone, flute, harmonicas, and the electric violin. See, the electric violin here, which lights up too, pretty cool. And now, okay, I got sidetracked again. Number 1, envelope filter. Number 2, Super Ego Plus. Number 3, equalizer. Number 4, noise suppressor. Inside the noise suppressor loop starts with the B9 organ, the Mel 9 tape replay, the Walrus audio luminary, which, if you're not familiar with the luminary, it compares to the EHX POG 2, but in a much smaller footprint and with some filters in it that the POG 2 does not have. So you can get a very organ-like sound out of it. It's almost better than the organ off of here, but using the organ sound on here means I can leave this on the bell organ, which is a very unique organ sound that you can't get from any other machine. This means turning less knobs. You wonder why this board is this big? The less knobs I have to turn, the more efficient I am on a gig. So, and from here, this is still inside the effects loop. 1, 2, 3. Then it goes with the arpanoid, which is a fun arpeggiator, which is actually more useful than a lot of people give it credit for. My Sans amp, which I'm using as a cleanish drive. I used to use it at the end of my chain, now I'm using it near the front for gain stacking from a violin. To my Boss OC3, which I used to use for the polyoctave, but now my Luminary and my Zoom does that much better. The Nemesis delay can also do it, but I have a different one set for that. But I use the Super Octave as a dirty boost into my Angry driver, which is a JHS Angry Charlie and a Boss Blues driver all in one pedal. Super sweet. Into my Theremin fuzz, which normally I use for, it's got a really super aggressive dirty fuzz. It also has a really high pitched theremin-like sound to it that's uncontrollable on my gear, but makes it really spacey, really, especially when combined with delays, is really cool. Then from there, that's the end of that loop. Then we go from the output of the noise suppressor into the input of the Harmonist. The Harmonist was my very first pedal, and I used to have to change knobs on all the time because I used low range, I used high range, I used harmony, I used the pitch bend. I almost bought a second one. I'm glad I did not, because I found other pedals to take the place of some things I was doing with this. But now I'm using this for mostly pitch bending. It also makes a great chorus. That'd be the only reason why I'd even think about getting a second one, but if I really want chorus, I can program that into my Zoom, so chorus is there. Okay, now from here, stereo effects begin. So we're from the noise suppressor into the Harmonist. From the Harmonist, we go stereo out of the Harmonist. So it's a mono in to stereo out of the Harmonist into the EHX Super Pulsar Tremolo. And this one I've been using the third preset on it the most. It sounds kind of like a banjo pick. So that's a really handy one. And from there into my Zoom, you can program 50 effects and chains of effects into this, which is fine if you're home recording or whatever, but when you're gigging, not practical. So when I gig, I have 2, maybe 3 presets in here with some bypasses in between, and those bypasses have EQs, so it's never a bypass. It's always tone shaping in the bypass. Very handy. From there into my Nemesis delay, I have 4 presets in this. I have a digital delay, a slapback, a pitch shifter, and a reverse delay currently programmed into this. And then from there into my Avalanche run. I just got this, and this is only 5 months old. The person that had it before me didn't have it very long. So, into my Avalanche run, which I'm still learning how to use, but it's really fun. And from there into my TC Electronic Mimic, which is basically just like a really, really tight chorus. It just kind of thickens and fattens the sound. It's very transparent. You know when it's off. You don't really know when it's on. But when it's off, you notice it. From the Mimic to the Flashback. The Flashback I use sometimes for lo-fi and tape delays. I used to use it for ping pong until I got the Nemesis. The Nemesis and the multi-stop do much better ping pongs. This is an all stereo rig, by the way, if you haven't figured out, because we started stereo here in stereo up there. And from there, And I mentioned the loop in this because I use the looper for solo gigging. It also works when I'm playing funk to get the drone going, and I can send my drone into my loop. So that I can continue on with my other effects while the drone is still going. And then from my flashback goes back to the stereo auxiliary return. So that's my loop. From the speaker out, it goes from speaker out into my passive volume knob, into my Hall of Fame. Then under here, into let's see if we can see this here. Yeah. Yep. Under here, my power supplies. See the power supplies there. And from the Hall of Fame, it goes into my Art DI box, which is a passive DI box. And from there goes from the throughputs into my patch bay, and from my patch bay I go out into my monitors, it also has outs there. So very, very efficient rig with, it looks like a lot, and it looks like there'd be loss, but with everything in loops, it really doesn't lose the tone that some boards this size get. So that's the rundown. I'll post this and then I'll play something later.